Ghostly tales, yet mirrors of human life. Hey everyone! Welcome to Encountering Chinese, Ghostly Tales from Zhai. Today, I'm going to tell you two short stories. The first story is titled, The Woman in Green Clothes. The scholar Yu Jing was from Edu County. To study quietly, he often stayed at Lichuan Temple. One night, as Yu Jing was reading, a woman's voice outside his window praised him, saying, "Mr. Yu, you are truly diligent in your studies." Yu Jing wondered where a woman could come from in this remote mountain temple. While he was still in doubt, the woman laughed and pushed the door open, entering the room. She repeated, "You are truly diligent in your studies." Yu Jing stood up in shock and looked closely, finding the woman dressed in a green dress, with a gentle and beautiful appearance, rare in the world. Yu Jing suspected she was not human and repeatedly asked her where she lived. The woman said, "Do you think I'm a man-eating monster? Why do you keep asking about my residence?" Yu Jing was very fond of the woman and ended up sleeping with her. When the woman undressed, Yu Jing found her waist was so slender it could almost be encircled by his hands. At dawn, the woman gracefully left. From then on, she visited every night. One evening, while drinking together, Yu Jing discovered that the woman was also well versed in music. He said to her, "Your voice is so soft and delicate. If you could sing a song, it would surely enchant anyone who hears it." The woman laughed and said, "I dare not sing, for fear of enchanting your soul." Yu Jing insisted, and the woman said, "It's not that I'm unwilling, I'm mainly afraid others might hear. Since you insist, I will sing, but I must do so softly, just enough to convey the meaning." She then gently tapped the bed's leg with her delicate foot and sang, "On the tree, the black cicada calls, causing me to leave at midnight. I don't mind my embroidered shoes getting wet, only fearing you will be left without a companion." The woman's voice was as delicate as a fly's, and Yu Jing strained to hear what she was singing. However, as he focused intently, he discovered her song was indeed melodious and clear, pleasing to the ear and touching to the heart. After she finished singing, the woman opened the door to check outside and said to Yu Jing, "Be cautious of anyone eavesdropping outside the window." She circled around the outside of the house, checking every corner before finally feeling at ease to come back inside. Yu Jing asked her, "Why are you so worried and fearful?" The woman smiled and said, "There's a saying, ghosts hiding among humans often fear people. That's referring to me." They then went to bed together, but the woman remained anxious and uneasy in her heart. She told Yu Jing, "Perhaps our fate together will end here?" Alarmed, Yu Jing asked her why she would say such a thing. The woman replied, "I suddenly feel uneasy, perhaps our fate is about to end." Yu Jing tried to comfort her, saying, "It's common to feel restless or uneasy sometimes. There's no need to speak like this." The woman was somewhat reassured by his words, and they once again immersed themselves in affection. After dawn, the woman put on her clothes and got out of bed. Just as she was about to open the door, she hesitated and returned to Yu Jing, saying, "I don't know why, but I still feel afraid. Please escort me out today." Yu Jing immediately got up and escorted her to the door. The woman said, "Stand here and watch me. After I climb over the wall and leave, you can return to the house." Yu Jing agreed, and he watched as the woman in green clothes disappeared into the courtyard, vanishing without a trace. Just as he was about to return to bed, he heard the woman's urgent cry for help. Yu Jing followed the voice and searched all around, but found no trace of the woman. Listening carefully, he realized the sound seemed to come from the eaves of the house. He looked up and discovered a tiny spider, the size of a pellet, capturing an insect and playing with it. The desperate cry for help had come from the insect. Yu Jing immediately tore apart the spider web, picked up the insect, and removed the spider's silk entangled around it. He saw that the insect was actually a green bee, barely alive and appearing close to death. Yu Jing brought the bee back inside and placed it on the desk. After a long rest, the green bee began to crawl slowly. It climbed onto the inkstone and dipped its body into the ink, then crawled across the desk, leaving behind the words, "Thank you," in its tracks. The bee then vibrated its wings several times and flew out of the window. From that moment on, the woman in green clothes never appeared again. The second story is titled, Li. In the Longmen area lived a man named Xie Zhongjiao, known for his frivolous and licentious behavior. In his 30s, Xie Zhongjiao lost his wife, leaving behind 2 sons and a daughter. The 3 children cried and wailed day and night, causing him great distress. Xie Zhongjiao desired to remarry, but unable to find a suitable match, he temporarily hired an old woman to help raise his children. One day, Xie Zhongjiao was walking slowly along a mountain path when suddenly a woman appeared behind him. He waited briefly and stole a glance, noticing she was a beautiful woman in her 20s. Xie Zhongjiao felt affectionate towards her and flirtatiously remarked, "Madam, are you not afraid to travel alone?" The woman continued walking without responding. He persisted. "Madam, with such delicate footsteps, this rugged mountain path must be difficult to traverse." Still, the woman did not look at him. Seeing no one around, Xie Zhongjiao approached her and suddenly grabbed her wrist, pulling her into a secluded valley, intending to force himself upon her. The woman angrily cried out, "Where did this bandit come from, daring to behave so barbarously?" Ignoring her protests, Xie Zhongjiao continued to drag her along. The woman stumbled awkwardly, feeling embarrassed and helpless. She finally said, "You only seek pleasure, is that all? Let me go, and I will be yours willingly." Xie Zhongjiao complied with her request. After sharing intimacy in the quiet valley, they unexpectedly developed mutual affection. The woman asked for Xie Zhongjiao's residence and name, and he truthfully disclosed them. In turn, he asked the same of her. The woman said, My surname is Li. Unfortunately, I lost my husband at an early age, followed by my mother-in-law. Now I am alone and without support, so I often return to my family home. Xie Zhongtiao revealed. I also lost my wife. Will you live with me in the future? Li asked, do you have children? Xie Zhongtiao confessed. To be honest, I have been intimate with several women since my wife's death. However, the constant crying of my children at home is truly unbearable. Li hesitated and said, this matter is quite difficult. From the style of your clothes and shoes, I can tell they are ordinary. I could make new ones for you, but being a stepmother is challenging. I fear I may not do well and could face criticism. Xie Zhongtiao reassured her. Please do not worry so much about this matter. As long as I keep quiet, how can others interfere in our private affairs? Li nodded in agreement but then worriedly added. Now that we are together, I will definitely follow your arrangements in the future. However, I have a brother-in-law who considers me to be a valuable commodity. It may not be easy for us to live as we wish. What should we do about this? Xie Zhongtiao also felt anxious and planned for Li to secretly run away to his house. Li said, I am prepared for anything. However, I am concerned that if your family leaks this matter, it will be detrimental to both of us. Confidently, Xie Zhongtiao said, this is a trivial matter. There is only an elderly caretaker in my house, whom I will dismiss immediately. Li was visibly delighted and returned home with Xie Zhongtiao. Initially, Li stayed in an outer room while Xie Zhongtiao sent away the elderly caretaker, cleaned the beds, and warmly welcomed Li inside. They became increasingly affectionate. Li immediately took charge of the household chores and diligently patched up Xie Zhongtiao's children's clothes. Xie Zhongtiao cherished Li dearly and secluded themselves daily behind closed doors, no longer engaging with outsiders. A little over a month later, Xie Zhongtiao happened to be away on business and locked the front door behind him as he left. Upon his return home, he found the doors tightly shut from inside and outside, with no response to his knocks. Frustrated, he broke the door open and entered, only to find no one inside. As he was about to enter the bedroom, a large wolf burst out of the room, nearly terrifying him to death. Upon further inspection inside, he discovered that each of his sons and daughters had already died, their blood staining the bedroom floor, leaving only 3 severed heads on the ground. Infuriated, he turned to chase after the large wolf, but it had already disappeared. At the end of the story, the author provides this commentary. He says, if a scholar's conduct is improper, suffering the loss of children in such a manner is indeed a tragic punishment. Moreover, if one were to marry a woman with complicated relationships, it would be akin to inviting a wolf into the house. What's more, a person like Xie Zhongtiao, who even attempted to seek a virtuous wife through illicit affairs and elopements. Alright. That's all for today's ghostly tales, The Woman in Green Clothes, and Li. If you enjoyed them, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Please also encourage everyone to comment and share more. We'll see you in the next episode.